Now that registration seems to be working pretty well, let's move to login. And so we just had a stub dialog for now. So we're going to start by copying pretty much everything from register content. So I'm going to select all, copy, and then go to login content, select all, and paste to override everything. And let's start with the HTML. So this is going to be a register dialog. Actually, I'm going to find and replace everywhere where it says register. I'm going to say login. And oops, close that. So we have a login dialog. Instead of please create your account, please log into your account. Please enter your username and password. And then we need the username, and we don't need email. We do need password. We don't need password confirm. So that should be the HTML. And then for these constants, I'm also going to replace register under with login under. So now in user, we need constants for these values as well. So username, email. Actually, we don't need that. We don't need that. So just login username and login password key. So in user, we need username and password. Okay, and then for the CSS, now I already used error message for the register, so I'm going to give this a different ID. So just in case they've created both login and register dialogues, we know which one to do. And actually, let me do that here as well. So in register content, this is going to be the register error message. And then everywhere where I have error message, which is here, we use register error message. And then here, register error message. And I think that's everywhere. Yep, so that's everything for the error message. And then we'll do the same thing here. So login error message. And login error message. Okay, so that looks like everything. Now, for the CSS, it's fine if we define this twice, if they've loaded both the registration dialog and the login dialog. They're the same. And same thing here, if we've done that twice, there's no big deal. That's fine. And that's fine. So we don't need to change anything with the CSS. And then the JavaScript is going to be a little different. So we're still going to clear the form, still create the login dialog, create it modal, and it will have OK and cancel buttons. Cancel is doing the right thing. So for this OK, we're calling do login, so we have to create one of those. Let's go ahead and do that while we're thinking about it. So do login. and I'll come back to that. So login dialog input serialize, and then a status is status error. We're going to update the message. Otherwise, we're going to close the dialog and update the navbar. So this is actually all the same JavaScript. The only thing that's different is how we handle the application logic in doLogin. And once again, we're going to start with the code from doRegister and tweak that. Actually, this is pretty much identical as well. All the heavy lifting is going to be on the user object. So we're going to require the same stuff, set the same header, new user. We'll call user login instead. And we're just passing in username and password. And then in the user class, here's where the differences are going to be. So we have a register method and we want a login method as well. I'm going to start by copying the register method. And let's just start going through this. So this is going to be login. I think that's what I called in doLogin. Yeah, login. So this is just going to take username and password. And if username is empty, we still want the same error status. If password is empty, we still want the same error status. We don't need to filter the email. We don't need to check if the password matches. We do get a database object, so we're going to look up the user username. This time, if $user, that's a good thing because it means that we found the user. So what we want to do here is make sure that they've given us the correct password. And so I'm just going to put a breakpoint here, and when I get to this line, I'm going to take a look at what I have in this object. So I'm going to reload, sign in, and for username, I'm going to type Mark G, and for password, test me. And I need to enable debugging here, so enable debugging, and click OK. Alright, so get rid of that breakpoint from before. Continue. So here we are, we have our user object. It's got username, key. So let's look at it in the debugger. So here's our user object. It's an associative array with 4 attributes. So username is Mark G, email is that. I have the password hash, and I have the role. So what I want to do is check to make sure that the password they supplied is the correct password. So we're going to use the password verify function to check that. So say if not password verify, password, and then I get the hash from the user object, user sub hash, and that should be in a constant. So let's actually add that in user. Actually, we're already in user, so let's go ahead and add that as a constant. I'll go ahead and create constants for all of the fields. Const user username, actually just hash. And role I need, and email. So this is going to be the user hash. So if we can't verify the password, then we're going to return an error message. So this is going to be wrong password. Actually, password incorrect. So let's make a password incorrect error message. And in the full system, what we're actually going to do is have a link or a button that lets the user reset their password. And we'll also have in the register dialog, we'll have a way for the user to verify their account, but we'll do that later, so I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So here we're returning an error message if the password is incorrect. Otherwise, we've gotten all the information, we verified the user exists, and we've matched the password, so we're ready to log in. So this code right here that's what we want to do if we get here. So login succeeded, and username is the username. Actually, user : username. Like so, and we need to do that up here as well. Okay, and then same thing here. And here. Then we add the user. Actually, we don't need to add the user here. We do need to set the user, and we return an OK status. So that handles the case where we found the user. When we don't find the user, we get here. So we want to return an error message that the username doesn't exist. The supplied username is incorrect. All right, so I need to change that. And what did I use for that? No such user. And if they are already logged in, they shouldn't be able to click on the login link. So let's go ahead and, I forgot to turn off debugging. So let's turn off debugging here. And we're going to sign in. And this is an invalid account, so supplied username is incorrect. Please try again. Well, let's just leave it blank. No username was supplied. Let's delete the password. Here's the account I created before. No password was supplied. Here's an incorrect password. Supplied password is incorrect. Please try again. So let's fix the password, and we're logged in. So log out, sign up. Let's make a new account. Mark G2. So I'm logged in as Mark G2. We'll log out. We'll log in. And we'll supply a password. Supply a correct password. Great. So that's login. Pretty simple after we've got registration working.